the spot removal. We could also take them down to 4. This may be arrogant of us, but your daddy wants to close out the match quick. Get to this poutine I've been talking about. Hey everybody, welcome back. Thanks for taking the time to watch Hello Good Game. Zendikar Rising is here. The servers are not so hot. We're all struggling to get in and play some matches, but just hold on. It will become much more playable in the following days, I'm sure, and even in following hours if it's not already fixed. We are playing mono black aggro. We lost a few things. Rotting Regisaur was the biggest hit that we took. Don't worry, you know, we have some cool stuff to replace it, and I think this deck is just as viable in standard 1 ranked, and you know, we're gonna start building a sideboard for it and take it into traditional ranked as well. So you're in for a real treat today, and again, with the loss of Rotting Regisaur, we're not really affected by it that much. You know, we lost Gutterbones as well, but we have some very powerful additions. So let's get into it. As always, we break down the deck list in its entirety, talking about each individual card. Then we're going to go into the strategies and synergies. How do they all come together to form a really well-working, coherent archetype? Then we'll witness some gameplay footage. I'll call out my massive misplays for the day, right? This is definitely a learning channel, so if I can play this deck relatively competitively, just imagine what you could do with it, right? So mono black aggro tears up Diamond Rank today. You know, we are at a positive win rate while I'm playing this deck for the first time ever, kind of learning those matches, but because the server is so bad, I don't have a ton of time to fine tune it. I just have to get some content out for you guys as soon as possible. And then of course we close up with more shenanigans, closing thoughts, content plans, etc, etc. So without further ado, let's get right into Zendikar Rising mono black aggro day 1 version 1. No 1-drops. We have 4 copies of Blacklance Paragon. Our first 2-drop is a 3/1 with flash. When Blacklance Paragon enters the battlefield, target knight gains hexproof and death touch until end of turn. We have 4 copies of Scourge of the Skyclaves. Now this is a star demon creature kicker for 5. It would cost 7 total if you want to do so. And when you cast the spell, if it was kicked, each player loses half their life rounded up. Woo, that's massive. Scourge of the Skyclaves power and toughness are each equal to 20 minus the highest life total among players. Skyclave Shade. This is another Skyclave, which I actually never realized when I was building the deck that it was a common theme. This is a blade, a 3/1 is what that means. It also has kicker, this time for 3. It cannot block, and if it was kicked, it enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. It also has landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, if Skyclave Shade is in your graveyard and it is your turn, you may cast it from your graveyard this turn. So that's really, really cool. And that's actually the replacement for our Bone Crusher Giant. And again, you may have picked up that Scourge of the Skyclaves is a potential replacement for Rotting Regisaur. So just like that, out of the gates, we've already dealt with the 2 biggest fears that we had with mono black in Zendikar Rising, which was losing, obviously, the Bone Crusher Giant, or not, the Gutter Bones and Rotting Regisaur. So that's neat. Into our 3-drops, we have Agadeem's Awakening. This is a scaling cost, so it's not going to cost 3. It will be 3 plus X, and you get to return from the graveyard to the battlefield any number of target creature cards that each have different converted mana costs of X or less. So pretty expensive, but at the end of the day, if you're flooding, it's better than another land. So that's that. It is what is known as a Bolt land as well, or the new Mythic Modulo lands. And it enters the battlefield. You get to choose whether you shock yourself or bolt yourself, because it's a little bit more than a shock, it's 3. Do 3 damage to yourself, and if you do 3 damage to yourself, it will enter the battlefield untapped, which is pretty cool because with the Scourge of the Skyclaves, we do need to deal a little bit of damage to ourselves potentially at times to get them on the battlefield. So that's one of the ways to do so. We have Murderous Rider. This has Swift End attached to it at instant speed. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. We lose 2 life. And then the creature itself is a 2/3 with lifelink. When it enters, or sorry, when it dies, put it on the bottom of its owner's library. Mardu Outrider. This is a 5/5, one of the new arena cards that will not cycle in best of 1. If we do take this deck into traditional, like I talked about, Mardu Rider will have to go. So again, as an additional cost to cast this spell, discard a card. That's kind of similar to Rotting Regisaur. You know, it's not a repeatable situation where we always have to discard, but it's not quite as strong either. The nice thing about it is the defensive points here, the toughness. It's got 5 toughness, so that's quite cool. Demonic Embrace, 4 copies of this. We all know this. An enchantment or enchanted creature gets +3/+1, has flying, and is a demon in addition to its other types. You may cast Demonic Embrace from your graveyard by paying 3 life and discarding a card in addition to paying its other costs. So Scourge of the Skyclave. If we are doing really well and smashing our opponent, they're not hitting us at all. We have the Agadeem's Awakening to do damage. The Demonic Embrace now can do damage to us as well. Mardu Outrider can discard Embrace, so we actually are able to pay life for it. Because if you cast it from your hand, you're not paying life. So the Outrider can discard it for us, so we can have the chance to pay life for it. Seems weird, I know. Moving on, Soul Shatter ×4, instant speed. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker with the highest converted mana cost among creatures and planeswalkers they control. This card is just the bee's knees. This is amazing and a must-have as far as I'm concerned. Liliana's Standard Bearer ×4. This is a 3/1 with flash. And when it enters the battlefield, draw X cards, where X is the number of creatures that died under your control this turn. This replaces Murderous, or the Zombie Knight. The draw engine there, I forget what it was called. It's already gone from my memory. You don't need to worry. It's the exact same thing. It's a little bit weaker, but it has flash, which is really cool. And like, it won't die. Normally, the last draw engine that we had like this would die if it got wiped. This one will still draw you the cards because you're casting it after, and it itself won't die, so you're immediately on the offensive capability again. We've got a couple 4-drops, 2 copies of Rankle, Master of Pranks, a 3/3 with flying and haste. When it deals combat damage to a player, choose any number. Each player discards a card. Each player loses 1 life and draws a card. Each player sacrifices a creature. 2 copies of Massacre Wurm. This is a 6/5, and when Massacre Wurm enters the battlefield, creatures your opponent control get -2/-2 until end of turn. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, that player loses 2 life. This is a 6-drop here, a little expensive, but Scoot Swarm is all over. There's a lot of tokens kind of simmering around the outskirts of the meta right now, and the worm is just basically free wins at a certain point, which is quite cool. These spells are accompanied by 4 copies of Castle Locthwain, tapping it for 4, drawing a card, losing life equal to the number of cards in our hand after the draw, and then 16 swamps as well. Again, the Agadeem's, the Undercrypt, also counts as a land, which kind of lightens the load a little bit. So that's the deck list. We touched on some of the strategies and synergies already, but to overcap and really drive home your opening hands, common misplays, stuff like this, so you guys get out into the new meta without making any of these mistakes and spending time playing and losing when you could be grinding up that rank, right? So I guess common misplays right out of the gate. Scourge of the Skyclaves, its power and toughness are equal to 20 minus the highest life total among players, so you do have to have both you and your opponent not at 20 if you want it to survive. Again, you could be at 19, your opponent could be at 17. It comes out as a 1/1. So do take note that it is the highest life total among players. That's one of our common misplays. Another common misplay, I guess, would be the Skyclave Shade. You do want to make sure that you are attacking before you play your land if it's on the battlefield, because your opponent will attempt to remove it during the combat phase. And if you've already played your land or the turn, then you can't replay the land to trigger the landfall to bring it back into play. So you want to do your attack phase before you play your lands if you have the Skyclave Shade out and about. Again, your Standard Bearer, this could be misplayed, potentially missing out on your draw. It's great to hold up because it has flash and ties very well with Murderous Rider's instant speed removal. So you have 3 mana open, right? You can wait, see if your opponent destroys all your creatures, then the Standard Bearer goes in. You have a 3/1 attacker, plus you draw some cards, which is nice. If they don't wipe your field, you have Murderous Rider. If they played a big permanent that you want to remove, you can remove it. If they don't do either of those, then we're back to a Blacklance Paragon, just pushing it in the field, making sure to spend that mana somehow, some way, right? So it's not the worst thing to be holding up our mana. We also have Soul Shatter for 3. So 3 mana is a really nice position for us, where we can hold up basically that wipe defense. We can hold up removal, And yeah, that's really, really cool. So that is all things to take into account. Of course, maybe another common misplay that we could run into is Rankles. Each player sacrifices a creature. If Rankle's the only creature in play and you choose that, you will have to sacrifice your own Rankle. But I'm sure you guys won't be doing that. And, you know, maybe you kill yourself with a Murderous Rider Swift End. You know, don't do that if you're low on life. But again, Swift End is another great way to lower your life total to help the Scourge of the Skyclaves if your opponent's not doing any damage to you. Maybe he's a control deck, or they're a control deck, sorry, pardon me. And, you know, you can now use your Murderous Rider on one of their Planeswalkers. You drop your health because they're not attacking you with anything, and now the Skyclaves can become active, which is quite nice. That's it. I think those are all of our common misplays. Let's talk about our ideal opening hands for this deck. The land is pretty friendly. The Awakening solves the problem with the land in a big way, and it also solves the problem of our Skyclaves in a big way, which we've already mentioned a few times. But again, you can pay 3 life, and now you're dealing damage to your opponent with aggro hits, and the Scourge of the Skyclaves is at least a 3/3. You can discard your Embrace with the Outrider, replay it, you drop in more life, you got another hit in, and all of a sudden it's a 6/6. You put the Embrace on it, it's a 9/7 or whatever, right, with flying. So you can see just how that will play out. So opening hand, you know, I absolutely love to have these Skyclave Shades because of the replayability. You know, they entered the game early. They're basically always in game until your opponent exiles them from your graveyard or the field, right? So that's great. The Skyclaves, I absolutely love as well. If we have a way to do damage to our opponent and ourselves. In best of one, doing damage to yourself is not as important because the majority of decks are aggro, especially early on in the meta. So that's fine. It's not too bad to have in your opening hand right now, but I believe as things continue to grow and change, that this will maybe not be an opening card you want in your draw hand, and it might be something that you're looking to top deck a little later on. But I'd rather have it than not. And you know, Soul Shatter is just amazing removal. I like to have this, and I love to have a Demonic Embrace to put on one of our creatures to get it in the air. Mardu Outrider is pretty cool in the opening hand here as well. The only thing that I actually probably don't want in the opening hand is a Massacre Wurm, and I probably don't care for a Rankle Master of Pranks in the opening hand either. I would much rather just any of our 2-drops and all of the 3-drops as well, right? So that's pretty basic just because it's such a nice aggro deck that you can just really focus on stacking that early game interaction, and it can kind of flow in a multitude of ways. Again, you don't always have to necessarily mulligan a hand if it has a Rankle or a Massacre Wurm in it. For example, the Mardu Outrider can utilize the Massacre Wurm by discarding it and not disrupting your land draws. Stuff like this. So, with that being said, those are the common misplays, and these are our, you know, ideal opening hands. Obviously, you need 2 lands to operate at a minimalist. You're going to need 3 lands to get rolling, 4 to do all right, and 5 to thrive, which is kind of a common theme in aggro decks, because you can drop a 3-drop and a 2-drop on your 5th turn, which is pretty powerful, especially if there's no wipe. So I don't think I'm missing anything. I think we covered all of the basic strategies and synergies. We talked about misplays and the opening draw hands. So don't forget to use your Castle Locthwain. Again, this is another way to lose life for the Skyclave. And it just becomes a balancing act, right? We do have a lot of life gain through the Paragon, through the Murderous Rider that we can trigger up with our Embrace. So, you know, you can balance it, right? You can be losing life, you can be gaining life. Wherever you need to be, you can get to. So with that all out of the way, I'm live on YouTube every morning at 6 a.m. Mountain Standard. We switch to Twitch at 7 a.m. and then we're back on YouTube at 6 p.m. every single day. The pre-release has been a little bit weird with the servers, but we're going to try to stick to our schedule for the rest of the set, of course. Thank you for your time and attention. Before we get into our gameplay footage, I do have to give a huge shout out to all of our financial support on Twitch via the Primes and all that. So we've been Twitch farming recently. So if you've got Prime, come drop it on us. That's free of charge. You can like the videos as well to support us. And if you want to go crazy, we've got the Patreon and YouTube as well that you can jump into. So a big shout out to all of you. Thank you kindly and enjoy Mono Black Aggro Day 1 version 1. And we'll see you in a few minutes for our final thoughts. This is good. Let's roll with it. Lots of land. Watch us flood out. Mono white, interesting. I don't think we'll have any trouble with lands. Right. Not sure we'll get that far. We're after Linden next. Right? Just get rid of it before the attack phase. We're going to be taking more damage, so we didn't really need to pay life for our Undercrypt. Oof. Indestructible doesn't do anything against sacrifice, so... Again, this is instant speed, but there's no protection right now, so let's just deal with it. They have 28 life. That is something that we should take note of. If they play another speaker, it's risky biscuits. Luris, which can play it from the grave. Gosh dang it. That's psycho. That's a clutch banishing light. We have to kill Luris. We kill the angel, it just gets replayed again. They sacked the dog. We're not killing the speaker. Killing Luris. What do we do here? This needs to die before it comes untapped. I'm going out on a limb here. We're gonna play our rider. It's got life gain. We're gonna embrace it, right? We want something to get rid of the summoning sickness. The Paragon's great, but we want the life gain. Oh, nice. That's immediate life gain on the angel. Right? Gross. It does tap it though, so we can just grab that life right back, and we're just in this weird war. Helioid also puts the +1/+1 counters on stuff when it gains life, so... Ooh! Nice. This is still highest converted mana cost. Or it'll kill their Helioid, I think, actually. No. It's not a creature right now. Let's take this game back. Oh, cool. Back up to 11. Oh my lord, what a top deck. Holding up our removal. I mean, is it worth anything? Feels weird. Heck yeah. Ooh. Well, that's tasty. Let's just go with that, right? We can keep our Paragon to defend. Rankle can slam down. There's no way to interact with Rankle right now. They can give their bounty life gain, which it already has. I don't know, do we want to push the sack? Yeah. They don't have enough mana to make the Ardenvale token. It would be funny if now they had to sacrifice their Helioid. It doesn't count as a creature, it's just an enchantment right now, not an enchantment creature. Right, and they actually fix that. It just says it legendary enchantment right now, it doesn't say both. But if you go to printed card, it would say legendary enchantment, right? So that's actually really cool that that's a new update to the whole jazz. Let's just push up Rankle, I guess. Not doing anything here. They're gonna make the token, but whatever. We could sacrifice it if we really wanted. Let's see what the drop is. Just a land. They have 7. This costs 2. They could still get to make another one of these next turn. It's getting weird. Going big. They top deck another Banishing Light. I'm gonna cry. We could be losing life drawing card, but we're so low. And when they pay mana, we blast the one with a token. But what if they pull a Linden? We hit them in 2 turns. They would hit us for 3 next turn. Yeah, let's save it. Let's try to long con this. This is a land. It is a Linden. Am I ever happy we held on to this Soul Shatter? Whew, that's clutch. I think now this is a creature, so they could choose whether to sacrifice Linden or Helioid. It's going to be up to them. Regardless, Helioid leaves play. We get hit still for 3. Life gain can go on one of them. No, 2. They both can grab life gain. So they actually go up 17. So that will take us 3 hits. They have us still. Like, the math works out in their favor. We're dead next turn, and they've got so much life. Woof. Can we kick it? 5, 6, 7? No. Right? 1, 2. Yeah. We're a little shy on the land. But a 12-12's no joke. We have that blocker now, which we really needed. And as long as they didn't grab a Banishing Light, we should be okay. I certainly hope. And all that glitters, we're still okay. We are still okay. They're gonna gain a lot of life here. Luckily, we do damage before their life gain hits, so we still remove it. They go up to 15. Oh, quite a bit higher, actually. We die because of the interaction. Wow. We only have 5 defense, so we can block one more turn. Maybe we probably should have been blocking this whole time, I guess. I just can't believe they're gaining so much life every turn. Nice! Oh my lord and lantern. Alright, so we trade here. Woof. And then they make the 1-1 still. So we have to top deck some fire. A creature. Look at all this life gain. That's silly! Oh my gosh. Well, we're not paying for these embraces. It's a good thing we held the land in hand. Hey, it's still something. There's no token being played this turn. Yes, give us life gain. Our opponent's doing so well. Are you serious? Good game. Alrighty. You know, we do have our 3rd land. We've got our rider. Hopefully it's a silly rogue mill deck and we grab our demonic embrace along the road to destruction. We have our turn 2 shade. Ooh, there's the embrace organically. Sign me up. We could kick this for 5, but that's fine. Then whenever we play a land, we actually have the ability to cast it from our graveyard this turn, which is quite nice. When it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, put 2+1/+1 counters on it. And of course it can't block, similar to Brazen Borrower, but it can't block anything, not even flyers, I guess. It's a shock, right? But that's really good because we pull the spell from their deck and now we get to replay our Skyclave. Right? Keeping our hand nice and thick. You know, we could go with the Outrider. Let's see if it gets countered. Again, we could play it next turn if it gets countered. It's one of those things where it's just going to try to eat up their spells. Right? We keep our card advantage nice and high. I like the landfall icon on the cards. This little gold land shenanigans here. That's quite cool. Our opponent is appearing to have lost connection. It is opening day. The servers are absolutely being bombed by people right now, so this makes sense. Let's see if we can emote each other. Hello? Are you there? Is anybody home? Would you like to play a match of Magic? See? I mean, you know, we can play our Outrider. Watch them play? No, there's no way we're being roped opening day. People are so excited to be playing. It's weird that they got that shock off the start out, though. Maybe the Lava Worm will solve the issue. Just eats the server bug. Opponent's Gonzo? Yeah. Pretty sure. They're back, baby! Take our hit first. We should have kept our land in hand too in case they killed it, right? As we use that next turn. We'll end our turn, just hold up our flash. Just trying to play it cool. Counterspell, that's fine. Their mana's fairly tapped now. Again, not entirely, but... We'll try to pull a counterspell here. Get rid of our Embrace. We can play it from the graveyard. Pay life for it. And then hopefully... Let's keep it in our hand for now. Because if we play it now, it's out there as... Well, I guess we attacked after we could have played it. That's fine. Okay, that's a bummer. But you can kind of see how it's working out. Day one's been riddled with connection and server errors. Let's see if we can make it through a match. This will be our first successful one, if so. It's looking grim already. LOL. Nope, we're in. Nice. I was just about to go for the poutine. I was like, you know what? Let's eat some lunch while we wait. I'm ready to rock. I'm ready to roll. I'm ready to royal in Zendikar. Zendikar Rock and Royal Concerts? I don't know. Shit, Royals downhill. Again. Leading. Wow, this is a riveting game. I'm deduced to making Royal jokes. to keep me distracted from the poutine. The Remorse, okay. Takes the Shatter. The Shade's good too, because we'll be recasting that from our graveyard. It's similar to an Uro, where it's got that replayability factor. They actually don't take it. We pull a second Massacre Wurm, which is not good, but whatever. Okay, passage is Oakley Dokley. Gosh dang, these worms are weird. How are we gonna get to 6? Okay, they've got some Mardu shenanigans going on. We'll be discarding here one of the worms. So I'm looking for interactivity on the stage. I feel like we're on the back of something. They're tapped, we can just play freely. I don't think we would need to hold up the Rider, because what if they don't cast anything, right? Obviously there's not enough for Crockset to come into play. So it's better just to hold in to the removal and play with more damage. The Worm eats the Knight. It can't block. Let's keep it. Alright, we'll be discarding our other worm here, I think.
Ruining your day is going to feel great.
Oh no, they just minus on us.
You grow weak.
Interesting. We're sitting on 4. This goes to 5. We'll kill Liliana with flying. Discarding our worm again, I think, is still better than the spot removal. We could also take them down to 4. This may be arrogant of us, but your daddy wants to close out the match quick. Get to this poutine I've been talking about. Anyways, who can solve the riddle of the stage? Like, it looks like there's some moving arms, like some crab arms or something. I don't know, sea creature. Okay, we lose a lot of heat there. We still get to go wide and kill Liliana, right? That's fine. We could also just hit for lethal here. It's a good thing we saved all that removal. And yeah, we smash in there. Alright, we do have our Embrace. You know, 2 lands, not great. No way to really lose life other than our Embrace. We go first. Let's risk it for the biscuit. Chances are we should pull a land of sorts. Oof, the Archpriest is just like generally good. 2 Skyclaves in the starting hand's not the best. Third land, I'll allow it. Outrider in play. You know, this Massacre Wurm could come in handy, but 6 land is like a ways away. Again, we probably should have discarded our Demonic Embrace. I'm being kind of greedy with it. I just want to start hitting right away. But if we discarded it, we could have paid life for it, and then that would have helped a little later on. But if they're bashing us, we can just like freely bash them. So Ooh. Dirty dogs. Hopefully they don't block, and then our Skyclaves will become active, right? It's a 5-5 now. 3-3? Oh, because we're at 17. We're going to take a hit, though, and it will be 5-5. Whoa. We're getting bashed. Are we going to be able to survive next turn is the thing. Cleric, rogue, warrior. They just need a wizard. We're gonna flash the Paragon in. They're down to 10. Right? We become a 10-10 now. We need a little life gain on this bad boy. Spear of Destiny, whatever you want to call it. The trample life gain. Rogue, no wizard, that's fine. This is a wizard. So that's not good. We get killed just with flying damage. Nice. That's actually really cool. These are big hits. Yeah. Well, it's not bad for the first match we get to play. Alright, I think the servers are getting a little bit better. The hands, you know, nothing special is the thing. We'll keep 7, it's fine. Just thinking about our opening hand. Nice. Alright, that actually kind of ties it all in together. Now we're looking for our Demonic Embrace, Riddle Form. Very nice. I think we just flash in the Paragon right away. The Riddle Form will have flying, and they're going to have access to shocks and stuff like this. Right, that mountain is still open. Not that we could block a flying, but we will still play it on the end step. Okay, mana's tapped. They do take the draw, that's a 1-for-1. This is actually a deck I just played the other day. Oh, and I didn't play my creature with flash. That's embarrassing. We got all held up on skipping phases. I still think we play in. We could make them kill the Riddle Form. I'm not sure the Worm will do too much here, is the thing. Woof. One triggers the other. We do start trading at a pretty nice conversion here. They could shock us and then block the other Riddle Form potentially. Interesting. Whoops. Again, we forgot to play the land here. Double misplays today. This is on our end step, really. Oof. It's a little later than we usually play. But it's okay. We'll get this, it's fine. Murderous Rider has life gain. We'll just focus on that. Are these still not creatures? Yeah, they're creatures now. Woof. Those dirty dogs. We'll cast this now so we don't sacrifice our creature. Are they gonna sack it themselves, I wonder? Big bash, big bash. Give me my Outrider back, please. We're low on life is the thing. Low. Self-mill. There goes a shock they could have used, for sure. Alright, let's not forget to play the land. It cannot be paid for. LOL. This flyer just needs to be scooped out of existence. Let's hit for 5. Block, sure. We have another Soul Shatter. If not, we can use our Paragon. We'll actually play the second half of this match with relative responsibility. It could be a counterspell here. That would be game. We live. We live. Let's end that turn, baby. Oh, are we coming back? Are we coming back? 2 life's all you need. Give me that life gain. Get me away from 2, and that's lethal. Lobbing it. Alright, this is kind of a weird hand, so we're gonna mulligan it. This looks a lot better, and I'm actually not sure what to toss here. We don't want to throw our land off, but at the same time, we don't really want to throw too much away here. So let's toss the bearer. We already have our flash blade. You know, draw engine on that, but that's fine. We really just want to hit this Outrider, throw the embrace on it, and run that cycle as a repeating pattern, right? You know, you're not going to get the win every time, but it's a percentage game, and I think you'll get there. What does this thing do? Landfall, gain 1 life. Sure. Please and thank you. The Wanderer, okay. Enchantment enters the battlefield, you get to do some jazz. Do we snipe this thing off the field? I will threaten the Wanderer, though. That's a ramp engine, and the life gain doesn't upset me too much, but the ramp does. Right, let's keep this tone back as much as we can. We get the 3 damage in. That's fine. We don't care about our own life total, really. We want both of our life totals to go down. The champion's great. That's kind of disgusting. We're in the air. Over for 8. Down to 11. Big hits. Can our Outrider survive a few more turns? Gaining life. Taking the Scry to the bottom. This is good. Burrow. Okay. They have 1 land up. They could play another. No land. No attacks. Massacre Wurm doesn't do what we want it to. We're in the air again on the night. Discarding the worm. It does nothing. Huge hit. Just falling shy. Now they're like, well, we're gonna attack. I don't think so. I have 4/4 to defend with. Good game. And that's kind of the ideal route we want to take while playing. Alrighty. You know, I probably didn't play the deck the best. A brand new meta, I'm so overwhelmed. There's so much to take into account. And the day's been a little weird. Obviously, we're into like 6 hours of streaming already because of all of the server problems. And normally I'm napping by now. You know what I mean? I'm out walking the cats, doing some other sort of jazz. You can only spend so many hours a day on the computer, and they've been a couple long ones in a row. So you have to bear with me, and we're going to try to get some R&R in the next couple days, take a little break, or some reduced workload at least. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed Mono Black Aggro. I think I'm going to continue to work with this, and I think I'm going to tune it into a Rakdos build for Scourge of the Skyclaves and suit in the other Bolt land, the red one. I think that could be a lot of fun. And regardless, you know, this is even if you just build around Mardu Outrider and Demonic Embrace, this is going to be a very powerful deck, and the Skyclave Shade is a dirty card as well. So very powerful deck to bust out day one. Climb into Mythic before the season ends. And a big shout out to all of you who hung out with me on the pre-release. It was awesome, had a great time. Shout out to Wizards as well. And yeah, thanks for all of your support on the channel. We're going to be hitting up a Golgari deck next, I think, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, more importantly than everything, go have yourselves a great day. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you changed with the deck, and we'll see you soon.